And we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the iVortex podcast. Take motherfucking one.
Take motherfucking one.
Shit, I don't want to act and pretend like I haven't seen you for the past,
Yeah.
day and a half. So we'll skip all the introductory parts if that's cool.
Yeah, fuck introductions.
For sure.
We'll leave this part in too. Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it. Welcome, folks.
Welcome.
You think that lock it would be? Nah, we'll just connect those two videos.
All right, we're connecting these two videos.
Welcome back, folks. Topic of the day is this cool fucking video that I seen. I don't know how long. When I sent it to you the first time, that was the first time that I had seen it.
Yeah, I think it was I want to say August of last year, around there.
August?
Yeah, I remember I was listening to it while working out.
Okay.
I feel like that was when I was most active working out.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's funny, dude. It's funny how time, like, again, will just fucking fly, especially when you're not necessarily sure what the hell is going on in the world.
Yeah. So it's called Secret to Success?
No, so the one that I'm talking about specifically too is called Strangest Secret Ever Told.
Nightingale.
By Earl Nightingale, right?
Yeah.
And this fucking guy is, I guess, what you would consider a motivational speaker, personal development writer, I guess. And so he was friends with Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Which is another great book if anyone has the fucking time. It's a little longer, but Strangest Secret Ever...
Have you actually read that book?
I've listened to them in audiobook multiple times.
Okay.
I haven't been able to read them, I guess. But,
yeah.
I've been able to, like, hear them a couple times. Think and Grow Rich is incredible. It's a little longer. I think the thing about Earl Nightingale's Strangest Secret Ever Told was that I was able to get my parents to listen to the entire thing. Again,
really?
It's... Wow. In English, it's in half an hour. In Spanish, it was, I think, 45 minutes. And what I was being able to take from it is that in half an hour, you can not manipulate someone into thinking positively, but you can remind them of, how easy it is to fall into a negative mindset of thinking. And I would just say that, my family, like I would say a lot of other people, fall victim to that form of thinking. And, it's been it's been an eye-opening experience trying to get my parents to understand that maybe we're, like, despite being, in a complacent place where we're comfortable, that we could be in a better place.
Yeah. I think one important factor that he talks about is just, like, human agency. Right. I think we're responsible for our outcome. And, so his secret to success isn't like those little fucking diet plans where you just buy a pill and all of a sudden you get skinny. Like, he's not selling that idea, which I really enjoyed. It's more of like, you have to want it, you have to work for it, you have to dedicate yourself to something,
right? And
you have to give yourself a goal of success and build yourself up to that goal,
right?
Rather than, hey, fucking do this and you're gonna be successful,
right?
It's more of like, you gotta do this.
Yeah, and again, it's like it's a different way to approach it. I would say David Goggins has that
absolutely
way of approaching it. And there's other people who, again, they're not like, it's just not like coddling you with a perspective that, oh yeah, you're on it. No, it's more of a like, okay, well, there's work to be done, and if you're willing to do the work, then there's like there's something to be gained at least from it. Yeah.
And the reason why it's a secret is because most people deny the fact of, like, they just assume that they're not built for success.
Right. It's just easier to. I mean, I don't know. It's like, it's easier to assume that you're somewhere in the middle, somewhere like a comfortable middle, like even if you're a little smarter, even if you're a little like less, I would say just intellectually gifted, I guess. Like, we all tend to like assume that there's like a relatively stable level where we aren't judged too harshly by anyone, and so that's like a comfortable place to be. You don't necessarily have to be aspiring for too much. You don't have to be like, it's not demanding. Absolutely. It's a very complacent place to be where you don't have to do much, like,
well, you get
the minimum amount of effort,
You get satisfied, or not satisfied, but you get like, you're complacent and you're just happy with where you're at, and you just feel like, well, this is where I'm going to be.
Right.
Like, let's say if you had kids early on, and you get a job to support those kids, and you're like, well, this is my life and I'm okay with it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I think I think most of those people gave up on one of their goals, one of their main goals,
on something else. And that's something he talks about too, right? It's just the fact that like most of us at 25, right,
Exactly.
and approaching that age makes it like seem that much more like fucking just absolute in our lives, right?
Exactly.
Like at 25, you have all these goals and ambitions and things you want to do before you're fucking, 45, 50, right? And yeah, like by the time we're there, right, or 65, as he mentions in the book, like most of us are fucking not even close.
Yeah, we said like 1 out of 100. Or he said 1 out of 100 actually hits their goal,
right?
And then the other like 5 are in the way on their way to success. So it's like 6 out of 100.
Right.
There's somewhere along those lines.
Right. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was basically 90% of the population doesn't hit their idea of success.
Right, which is funny, bro, because again, I've listened to Jordan Peterson talk a lot about the Pareto distribution.
Yeah.
Where he mentions like, look, like one person out of 10, right, like your 10% does work really, really efficiently and effectively. And maybe there's a couple other ones that like do a little bit, but like one person, right, out of 10 will do 90% of the work in a company.
Yes.
And so that makes it, just all the much more like evident that like, yeah, you know what, truly there's one person who's willing to do the job. And at least at the current moment, maybe who knows if human beings, get to a point where we start to hack our, our biology enough to be able to be like, you know what, we can get more out of, every person.
Something like the Neuralink, Elon Musk.
Yeah, because there's different ways to, genuinely get more production out of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we've never been able to like hack that in an efficient way. And again, I think in Think and Grow Rich, he mentions how there's someone who read it that was like, this is the greatest book I've ever read, and then he just bought it for everyone in his company. And he was a business owner by that point, right?
Yeah.
But he was literally like, oh man, like everybody that I ever come in contact with should read this fucking book. And so he did. He just would buy the book for anyone who ever fucking wanted it, or worked for him. And it was like, yeah, dude, like you'll probably get more production out of your company if everyone in your company has read a book that is, like pleading you to get the best out of yourself. And pleading not because, because other people will succeed, like because you will do better if you're working harder,
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously the people around you do better, but that's just like a side note, like that's just a, like as a result of, it's not necessarily like, oh, you're doing it to earn money for other people. It's just kind of, that's just part of the game. That's how it goes.
Part of the process, yeah. Right. You got to build yourself up.
Right. Go ahead. There's something I want to say, but if I remember it, I'll bring it the fuck up.
I think one of my favorite parts of listening to that video was when Nightingale talks about the idea of success to each person is kind of like what you set for yourself. So like me, for example, my ideas of success isn't being rich or like having or being powerful or having a huge place. My example of peace is of being successful is actually calmness. Like I want to be somewhere where it's like calm and like I have a family and just not to be able to worry about money and just be fucking at a stable level.
Right.
So I think it's important that people realize that if your idea of success is different, then it's all right. As long as you hit that idea of success, then
or as
you're
long
successful.
as you're pursuing your idea of success.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As long as you're pursuing your idea of success, then you're successful. It
Yeah.
could be fucking being rich. It could be getting all the girls. Like whatever it is,
Right.
you set your goal and you have to work to hit it.
And again, I think an important thing to realize is that over time, it changes. Obviously.
Oh yeah.
Your perspective of who you should be should
Absolutely.
change over the time.
Absolutely.
Like the more you learn about yourself and the more you learn about the world, you should narrow down who you believe you should be. It's funny. One of the things. Sorry, just because I remembered and I want to fucking put it out there. When I like came home from college, right? I remember having a conversation with my mom where I was like, "Look, like I feel like."
Okay, we're good.
So, what'll we
continue on your story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I start it over or should I just run it through?
No, I think start over.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, yeah, basically came home from college, and yeah, just told my mom, I feel like I'm running, this long ass fucking race, don't have a fucking destination. don't even have a direction for that matter.
Yeah.
And yeah, in reading this book, it just felt like, with him explaining that, right?
We're set to go.
All right, folks, I'm going to speed through this because this is now take number 3. I told my mama.
What'd you tell her?
Look, basically it's just like a lot of people at a younger age, I was not sure exactly what I was going to do, what I was supposed to do, what I was talented enough to do, maybe, and I was just sick of, like, going at what I considered, a very fast fucking speed, right, with a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I don't even know what the fuck, like, I'm working towards, right? Like, I understand people who are like, oh, yeah, I'm working towards this. It doesn't matter how hard it is. Like, I know exactly what I'm working towards.
Yeah.
And that's great, and I wasn't necessarily one of those people. I know a lot of people aren't.
Well, I don't know if we got this in the first recording. It might have got cut off, but we're talking about how second year we talked a lot about how we didn't fit in there, and just
Right.
college was just like a lost situation where we just were going in this big circle,
Right.
We were partying so much.
Again, part of a cult, essentially.
Yeah.
A freaking college cult where everyone thinks that it's a great idea for you to join this culty atmosphere where you drink a lot and, you go to parties all the time.
Yeah.
And so long as you keep your studies up, all is forgiven.
Yeah. While you're fucking piling up debt.
Right.
That's where the college benefits.
And again, like, fuck, man, it's annoying that, like, right, I wanted to buy a house, and they're like, all right, we'll only give you X amount of debt. But if I wanted to go into that debt, bro, for student, right, like debt, they would have fucking handed me that shit on a silver platter.
That is true. That they give you those loans without a credit check, without anything.
Yeah, you
Whereas
don't need,
a car, a
you don't
house,
need
you need
credit
a fucking
for a student loan. Isn't that fucking...
Yeah, I never even thought of that.
And so, like, again, to have been able to, like, hear, right, Earl Nightingale's secret, Strangest Secret Ever Told, right? It was very obvious to me that, like, one thing that I've just never done is I've never stuck to my guns after I said, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to fucking unwaveringly, like, finish this task, And I guess I've always just seen myself as, like, I would do math with situations, bro. Like, I remember with CIF, right, with football, I knew we could go to the fucking championships.
Yeah.
I knew how fucking talented we could have possibly been, right? I had done the math. I had looked the guys over, and I said, all right, look, we have enough fucking linemen and enough receivers and skill guys, to make a deep run into the playoffs, right? I knew that shit. It wasn't like it was like, maybe if I work really hard, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's just the type of personality I have. Like, I'll do fucking math with situations, and if it doesn't add up, like, I'm not gonna, like, put my money on, like, improbable circumstances. And I guess, like, reading this fucking book has made me realize, like, all right, well, if you don't want to believe in those improbable circumstances, it's not gonna happen anyways, despite the desire to have it, despite whatever it is. Because none of us want to do mediocre shit in our lives, in my opinion, like, and some people do, honestly. Fuck, man, I've met plenty of people now who are like, they'll straight up be like, dude, I don't know, with my life, I feel like I just want to live, a very mediocre, and not like those direct words, right? But they'll be like, look,
in a sense,
I just want to live a very mediocre life. Like, you seem like you're, and again, this is after I've, like, read this book now, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, you seem like you're, like, shooting for a whole lot that I don't even want to, like, begin to be involved with. And I'm like, all right, well, that's fine. But, like, the cool thing is that, like, it's just that I've decided kind of thing,
Yeah.
That's what I see in my future. And again, like, prior to, I wouldn't say that's what I saw in my future because I didn't want it.
And what is it that you see? Like, what's your idea of
Well,
success?
and so here's my thing is, prior to college, right, my idea of success was probably something like, right, a dime piece of a wife, right, a decent job with a, good amount of, like, money at the end of it, and maybe, like, enough time to spend, like, time with my kids, like, enough time off to be able to, like, enjoy the time with my kids, right?
Yeah.
And, like, during college, I was like, that's terrible, bro. Like, that's ridiculous, right? Like, and it's funny is, like, initially when I was, like, just starting to smoke in college, I was like, fuck, man. Again, like, finding a peaceful fucking place, blissful.
Yeah.
Like, to be able to, and again, like, the way that I described Bernice at the time
Yeah.
was, like, dude, I just want to live on a pot farm and not worry about any of this crap.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, like, I allow myself to get sucked into a lot of shit that I'm not necessarily fond of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like once you're sucked in, right? Once you're sucked in, bro, it doesn't even like hit you that it's not what you want to be doing or what you want until it's like deep as fuck into whatever the habit is, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's this book called The Power of No, and they talk about like how no can change so much things in your life, like either for the good or better, obviously, but that like people need to learn how to. All right, so we left off on The Power of No book where they start talking about how no can affect your life in both positive and negative ways.
Right.
And yeah, basically, if you don't say no sometimes, then you get stuck in a kind of like a pot. You know, you're just in a fucking hole and you just dig yourself deeper when you don't say no, and you get stuck in a situation you don't want to be in.
Right.
And no can change that. No can also be a bad thing because it closes off your mind. You need to be open-minded.
Right.
But I think a healthy balance and making sure that you allow yourself to say no can change your entire life.
Right. You have different tools to work with when you're not just saying yes or no. You know, it's like the power of option, really. That's why we're born. That's why we have the opportunity to do anything if we want or we don't want. It's a trip, man. Again, with like your level of desires and how they change over time. Like I've felt like when I was younger and I dated that girl that was just making more money. It was like when I met her, it was confusing to see that rich people didn't necessarily like want to stunt on you.
Yeah.
You know, like at some point it is kind of comical, right? Like, and here's another thing. So like my mom sold gold most of my childhood, right? Or like jewelry, right?
Yeah.
And so I would see people who, you know, lived in a rundown, you know, apartment, hotel building, but were buying, you know, a $1,200 chain. And it's not like to criticize those people or anything. It's just like stunting on people, bro, is really ironic.
Yeah.
You know, because what you see is not necessarily what you get.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, have you ever seen those people who make fucking millions, billions even, and they're wearing fucking Nikes, and it looks like thrift store clothes?
Right, they don't give a fuck,
It's just like you are trying to show something that you're not. I think it's very I think it's like animalistic of us because we want like small birds, they puff up and make themselves look bigger, but the big ass animals, they're peaceful as fuck. Like elephants don't really attack that much unless you're in their territory, you know. They're just fucking like, all right, you're little shit, you know, you're in my way. Right. Whereas a little bird's gonna be like, or a Chihuahua will be barking like a motherfucker. A pit bull will walk and just like sniff it and be like, get the fuck out of here. Right. And it's just like a intimidation thing, I think.
Yeah, and we all react differently to it.
Yeah.
You know, like again, some people are intimidated by money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And some people are intimidated by maybe the fucking size of a human, you know, like... Yeah. There are different things, but some people are intimidated by eye contact.
Yeah. That's actually very common here in the United States.
Yeah, it's not... So weird. Right, it's not like you know, like there are some people with a phobia that have it. No, dude, like, people can't fucking stare at another human in the eye for longer than 3 seconds. Yeah. Before it's, like... scary, almost.
Do you think technology has something to do with that too? Because I think about, like, me personally, when I have conversations, I love to make eye contact because I don't know, it makes more sense to me, the conversation, because then I'm focused, they're focused. Usually, if you're making eye contact, you're not on your phone. And I feel like nowadays people talk and they're looking at their phone, and it's very like, oh yeah, and it's like you're tuned out. And I do it sometimes too, but like I try not to.
And this is just a random observation. Have you ever been in a circumstance where you're maybe with like a group of people and like most of them are on their phone?
Absolutely, and several times.
Well, hear me out. Most of them are on their phone, and maybe like the people who are not on their phones will begin like an interesting discussion, and suddenly everybody's like, everybody's attention is off their phone. Like, you'll look at them, and their phone, bro, is still even on their, right, like close up to their face. Yeah. But they're like, they're looking over at the conversation. Like, this fucking conversation is more interesting than my dead ass scroll that most of us are pretty just accustomed to. You know, like.
I feel like we've been in that situation where me and you would be at a party or like
and we'd be talking about. Yeah. And like again, another funny thing is I feel like when we were drunk in college, it was just funny. Because our phones weren't necessarily the most entertaining thing.
Absolutely.
I thought people were the most entertaining thing, but to each their own, you
Yeah.
know? Like, it was just funny, bro, because I was hanging out with you, and you were interesting, or, like, you were, like, catching on that some of these fucking people were interesting enough, basically, to just be like, oh, shit, these people are, you know, like, and again, like, sometimes you'll just need to meet somebody who's also noticed that. If
Yeah.
not, then it is, again, like, you'll just, like, look around, and everybody's on their phone, and it's like, well, can't do anything there, you know?
Yeah, you get lost. You need
Right.
somebody to like not vibe, but to catch that connection with
I
you.
guess it was just more comfortable too, because it's like, man, you don't want to like interrupt somebody on their phone with a conversation that's not interesting enough for them. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like disturb your dead ass scroll and like, you know, offend you or whatever. But
That's the thing about deep conversations is not everyone's up for them.
right, when not everybody wants to participate. Like, I remember like there were some times, bro, when we were talking about shit that was really cool, and like a lot of people would be really, really interested in it. And like nowadays, I realize there's a lot of people, bro, that some of those conversations they don't even want to have them, bro. Like, why are you having that conversation?
Exactly.
And it's really weird to me.
Yeah.
Because I mean, in my head, I'm like, fuck, man, if it's worth fucking investigating, excuse me, if it's worth investigating, bro, like what? A couple minutes, a couple minutes of fucking brain power. Is that like what you're too fucking? And again, like, you're so fucking good, bro, that you can't bring out those couple minutes of brain power. Like, again, I bring myself back to that. Jesus Christ was sold out for fucking worthless fucking value.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's ridiculous if we think we're so fucking high and mighty, bro. Like, and again, bro, that's another thing about like, I think like being on the phone is I feel like people like. Because I've had this feeling too, where you're just like, you're nervous that you're at a party and you're not saying anything.
Yeah.
And so you look at your phone because you're like, well, at least it'll look like, it'll have the appearance
That I'm not nervous.
that I'm busy with something more important than, you know. Yeah. I don't know.
I think it's funny, man. I think people just get into this false idea of comfortability. And technology definitely does that for us.
Yeah.
'Cause I mean, I absolutely do. I go out, like, if I'm in a waiting room,
Right.
and I'll be looking around, and then I feel weird because I see either like parents talking to their kids, or everyone's on their phone, or like they're doing something, and I'm over here looking around like a fucking weirdo, right?
Right.
And it's actually normal to be doing that, but because we're in a society where it's not normal anymore, it's like
Right.
it's like now I feel I have to pull out my phone, and then I'm just like, all right, well,
Right.
I have nothing to look up on my phone, so sometimes I'll literally just be scrolling on nothing. 'Cause I
Right.
don't have social media.
Exactly, bro. Yeah, dude. Like, it's not even. It's just about not appearing to be creepy.
So, yeah.
By,
or not normal.
by
I think,
not.
I think
Yeah. Exactly.
Normalcy is this weird fucking false idea that we have.
Right.
There's this idea that there is a normal when there's absolutely not.
There's just a
It's what
median.
society. Yeah. I mean, like, think about it.
just a
There's
median,
these
bro.
kids out there who dress up as furries. I don't know if you ever heard of them. They dress up in fucking
Fairy costumes.
no, like fucking like dogs, and
Oh.
it's like furry costumes.
Okay.
And to me, that's weird. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
But to them, it's not. You know.
Yeah.
So it's like, so who the fuck am I to be like, that's not normal?
Again, bro, it's just a median, bro. Like,
Yeah.
if you're in LA, bro, the median of LA, bro, is like, oh my god. Like, I just think about like Ontario, right?
Yeah.
And then I think of Oaks Christian, right? And then I compare that to San Bernardino, right? And Fontana, and then you compare that to fucking Long Beach, right?
Yeah.
You compare that to Santa Monica. Like, the amount of cultures and the amount of like differences within like 100 miles, bro, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So if you think about the median in LA, bro, you're talking about a really funky ass person.
Yeah. Definitely odd.
And it's funny, bro, because like when you think about it, right, like I understand when fucking conservative ass people are like, fuck, man, liberals, I don't understand what a liberal even fucking is anymore. How could you understand what a liberal is, bro, when the median of a small town, right, in the middle of fucking Kansas,
Yeah.
it does not include 4 nationalities,
Absolutely not.
3, you know, like different, like
There's no diversity.
Right.
Diversity of anything, like
and
not
again,
just race, just
well, again, yeah, like,
ideology.
right. And again, like, look, those fucking the dudes that dress as puppies, like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that I believe that's fucking normal, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you do have that in some form, or like it's in some place of our society where yeah, some people do believe that's normal, right? And so like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm thinking to myself, right, like, what the likelihood of us convincing those people that that's normal? Like, how would you convince somebody, bro, from Kansas, a small town in Kansas, that somebody dresses up like a puppy and that that's normal?
I don't think you can convince them.
Right. Well,
but I mean,
that's what I'm saying is, like, how would you convince them that somebody who moved here from Egypt, right, and married a, you know, like a white person that has a couple kids, like, can you fathom that? And that those kids now speak Egyptian, or that maybe even they, like, don't spend all of their time in the United States. Like, if you've never even left the country, if you've never left the state, bro, how are you supposed to be convinced? And again, like, not everything applies to you, bro. That, like, just because you're from some small town in Kansas doesn't necessarily mean that you should be trying to, like, decide certain things for other people, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is funny because, like, that's what, like, a lot of the gay rights, like, shit didn't make sense to me when I was, like, when it was happening, basically, because I was younger, basically. Was I didn't understand.
All right, take 6.
Where were we? Where were we at? Where did we leave off?
Let's see. You were talking about I think you're talking about gay rights.
Right. Okay. Right. So I'll just try to, like, explain it, I guess, the best way I can. Like, because, all right, so, like, I was like really good friends with Luis growing up, right?
Yeah.
And then Caesar, you've met Caesar as
Absolutely,
well. Yeah. Like, thinking back on it, right, I'm wondering if, right, because now that I'm older too, and like, I don't know, I hope slightly more mature, I've had this, like, feeling of, holy shit, bro, like, first of all, why is it any of our fucking business, right? But aside from that, right, I don't understand how we asked anybody's, like, permission for it, right? Like, Malcolm X mentions that a lot, how civil rights was wrong because it was asking permission to be equal as everyone else.
Yeah.
Which is fundamentally wrong. You know, like, you can't
ask for something like that.
Right, because it's not fucking...
you kind of have to force it in a way.
Right.
You have to force that idea, and
because the barrier that still stands is, like, I don't want to say non-existent because it's fucking there, but the barrier that it stands in between is usually something as simple as my parents believed that.
Yeah.
Feel that? And so,
no,
like,
absolutely.
because you can explain to somebody why something is wrong, you know? And if you can explain to somebody why their parents were wrong, well, that's the thing, is I firmly believe that if you can explain it without being offensive, then it is possible to get it through to them. But you're right, there's too many ways that it's offensive to say that it's easy to do that.
I think open conversation is so fucking essential, though, man.
I mean,
I think having an open mind. Can you imagine? Okay, so you can have a racist fucking motherfucker, and
a racist and a black guy walking to a bar. Basically.
Yeah, basically, and then, but let's say they have a conversation. They both have open minds. Guess what? Things could change.
Right. That's true.
A great example is this. I forget his name, but there was this black man who
talked to KKK members.
Joe Rogan brought him on, and it was fucking insane, bro. Because he literally on the podcast he explained, all I did was sat down and talked to these guys. Yeah. And I showed them that I was
he would interview them. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm not the person that you think I am. You don't fucking know me.
Right.
He's like, and if you get to know me, you know I'm a fucking cool guy.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
Right.
I think it's just very, like, left versus right, black versus white. Fucking, it's us versus them. We have that us versus them tribalism mentality.
Yeah. It's just ingrained in us, man.
Yeah. You think it's human nature, or you think it's, like, society built?
I think tribalism is most definitely biological.
Yeah.
But I think
to a different level, maybe.
I mean, I wouldn't like, it's hard to say so, bro, because in my like, from my perspective, right, like, it's just tribalism with different rules, bro.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, different times too, man. Technology has really shifted ideology.
Again, like, here's something that might be just, like, funny to think about is right now, right, all these adults are focused over right versus left, right?
Yeah.
What if young people just got tired of old people and their dumb, you know, like, because it really just feels like a mom and dad bickering about something that is irrelevant, right?
And the kid has a completely different ideology.
Right, and what I'm thinking is, here comes its teenage fucking, you know, son starting to think to himself, like, well, what if you're both a little bit wrong?
Absolutely.
Because
That's a great
because
fucking
bro,
point.
there's so many young people who are just fucking tired of listening to, oh, well, it's always just one idiot or the other idiot.
Yeah.
And young people, I feel like we have this really cool thing about our, like time period where like if something was that gravely fucking like wrong and out of place, like there was an app to fix it,
Yeah.
like, and so as much as like old people are going to continue to just bicker over trying to maintain the right versus left, like paradigm.
Yeah.
I think young people are just going to say, first of all, fuck the old people.
Yeah.
Right. And because like, yeah, look, there is going to come a point, right, where the Generation Z, millennial, outweighs the Generation X and baby boomers.
Yeah.
And when that happens, I guess in my mind, when that happens, like all that's gonna happen is like, and again, this is just like a theory. Like, what if, right?
Yeah.
What if these young fucking kids said, "Look, we're sick and tired of these old farts, like, like running the government in an inefficient, old school way because they are really too tied up on tradition, and just decided to do it a whole nother way, like exactly like they've done with Uber and like they've done with Uber, Airbnb, right? Like I suspect that airline companies are pretty damn close to losing their business too. Like, what happens, bro? What happens if from a private airplane, right? Like, what if from a private airline circumstance you could rent out a plane to take you, here, or if you were gonna, I don't know. I firmly think basically that like soon enough there's gonna be
big change.
Yeah,
I would honestly, back to your left versus right point, I would argue that's already happening. I mean, there's progressives, libertarians, there's this whole new ideology, and most of them are from younger people who are sick and tired of the old fucking ways.
Right.
And I think that's just natural evolution, bro. I think
that's true. Yeah,
no matter
systems
how
collapse.
advanced,
Yeah.
exactly. No matter how advanced you think you are, there's always room for improvement, and we just keep showing that. I mean, we had this great democracy, this great republic, and
if you refuse,
it's failing.
If you refuse, bro, to change with the times, it's the truth, bro. If you refuse to evolve, or you refuse to adapt, that's it, bro. Like you're officially choosing death.
Yeah, death of ideology, not necessarily.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Because it's movement, bro. That's what it is. Like if you can't continue to move, then you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And it's fucking weird, bro. Because again, like I was telling you about. Like when I was coming home from college, bro, I felt like I needed a break. I felt like I needed to sit down.
Yeah, I think it was a reassessment. I think like going back to Nightingale, he like if you don't set a goal for yourself, you're lost adrift and you're dying.
Right.
Ideology wise, you're dying.
Exactly. And again, like I think, like part of the thing for me growing up was that I was lucky enough to be involved in everything, despite not having any goal, and that probably helped substantially, right?
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, like, you do need to continue to try shit, but you need to like knowing that from a younger age, you need to be more directed in trying fresh new things. You need to know why you're trying fresh new things, and I feel like that was something that like living in a small town was maybe a little bit more difficult to do as well, right? Couldn't necessarily go take a karate class unless your parents could drive you an hour, for every session or whatever.
Or like not even small city, but like money wise, bro. Like I remember I wasn't able to do any programs as a kid because we were so fucking broke.
Exactly, absolutely.
No football, nothing.
Like your restrictions are everywhere, and and obviously it's difficult to fucking get all of those opportunities or get them to work even, But it's interesting because again, if you don't keep looking for a way, you're not gonna find it.
Yeah.
If you don't. Again, find a way to keep adapting because, dude, like I've never had a gym membership, right?
Yeah.
And I've always been able to like find a place to work out and been able to like more recently grow too.
Yeah.
Now that I have less equipment than even before, and again, it's not necessarily that it's ever been my equipment. I've just had access to a gym.
Yeah.
And like now that I don't, I've had to like start building my own small little like makeshift gym.
But either way, that you're able to get some work in.
Right. Well, and it's funny because like before I started like making my makeshift gym, right? Like I started going hard. Like my level of dedication increased a lot, and I didn't have any weight, so I was really dedicated, wasn't moving fast, and so when I finally got the weight, it was easy to like. But it was a system at that point, like, and the fact that I was like doing it without the weight and creating some form of like movement, you know, and like again, I was in the fucking rhythm. By the time that I got weights, like I was excited to do fucking bench every 3 days if I could, you know, and so.
And there's so many self body workouts that are just so fucking intense. I mean, you were just talking about the Yoel Romero fucking squat jumps.
Right. And again, like maybe you don't necessarily know. Like the longer you are involved in something too, the more intelligent and the more clever you are about certain things. It doesn't matter how much. You want to stretch a little bit, bro?
No. We got about 2 minutes left on recording, so we'll just finish up.
And yeah, I guess like one of the important things that I'm trying to get at is like in high school I did a lot more shit because I was sober, right? But like I didn't have like a point. And now I feel like what's like changed drastically is now I feel like I'm like putting together this like, you know, grand scheme of a plan that I, as a young kid, you know, like thought myself scheming up, you know, and it wasn't necessarily like oh, I want to be king of the world, but like I definitely felt myself capable of being so, right? And like now that I'm older, it feels like now I'm more like doing it because it's necessary for those around me, not necessarily because I'll be able to benefit from it. Even though, again, if you're doing certain things, bro, like, it's just automatic. Like, if you're working hard, money's probably going to end up like, landing in your lap.
All you got to do is work for something, and it just, things tend to fall in line. I mean, you're going to hit fucking rough-ass spots, rough-ass bumps, but...
And again, time is the only telltale, you know?
Like, and Nightingale, or nobody who ever tells the truth about success, who's not trying to sell something bullshit, they always say that, like, they never say there's a time limit or time frame of when you're going to get this success. It all depends on you.
As long as you get it before you die, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what's funny, bro, is I think some of like, go ahead, stand up, bro. Good. Some of like the most influential and motivating like random little things I've seen is like people that win, but at the last second.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, there's like something so fucking special about thinking you're gonna lose, bro, all the way until the last second. Or not that, no. Thinking you're gonna win, bro, the entire time that you're losing badly. That. There's something fucking special about that. Because I've seen it, and I've seen like the look in someone's eyes when they're like, no, I'm gonna win. Like it looks bad right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, going into the fucking like, 8th round when you're fucking
get battered.
You know, like there's just certain things, like, I don't know, bro, like certain fucking even like special circumstances, right? Like Julio Cesar Chavez, you know, his last fucking, or his first fight with Taylor, right? Like,
yeah, man.
This motherfucker knocked him out in the 12th round, right, with 2 minutes and 57.
Yeah.
Right, and super controversial. But there's something about that, bro. Something about the idea of it doesn't matter how many fucking punches in the mouth you've taken. If you just continue to throw, you continue to have the possibility.
I mean, it's that prototypical work till the end.
Yeah.
Work till the end.
Work till death, basically,
yeah.
Bro. It's something else. And again, like with the Earl Nightingale, like recording and everything, I guess I've just started to be more specified again on what it is that, like, again, not. All right.
Yeah, we good.
Yeah, I guess, like, again, with the recording and everything, it just feels like having specified goals, right, down to the T, basically, right, down to the number, down to, you know, the time span that you want to spend maybe pursuing this goal. Maybe you can move towards a place where it doesn't matter how hard you're getting punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
You know, you're willing to hit back. And again, you'll only do that for something that you truly want, you know? Like, again, like for me, it was easy to just say, all right, no, I don't want to do this because it isn't what I want. It wasn't necessarily what I knew I had to be doing. And I felt like I had, you know, plenty proof that it wasn't what was going to take me to wherever it is that I thought I should be going, you know? And whereas, I don't want to say like now I know and now it's all perfect and everything, but now I feel like I at least have something to aim at.
Yeah.
and something to shoot for.
And you keep getting up if you get knocked. Like the boxing thing, where you just, if you get punched and you get battered, you just get up and you keep
It's okay because
fighting.
you have something to hit
Yeah.
back at, you know?
Exactly.
Again, as opposed to like,
just taking punches.
yeah, and not, I don't know, not being able to fucking,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, that wraps it up, huh?
That's going to be it for today then.
That's the third eye vortex.
Third Eye Vortex, we'll be back whenever we're ready, I guess.
Yeah. Ready for round 2.
Yeah.